What's up guys, welcome back to another backyard simulator session. Today we're playing Sedgefield Country Club in Greensboro, North Carolina, continuing on with the PGA Tour schedule. Now just a few housekeeping notes before we get started. So I'm not sure if this video is going to come out before or after the two videos I recorded yesterday. Basically I recorded two 9-hole videos. It was Alnmouth in England and Kambaku in South Africa. They're both part of the top 50 9-hole courses. This is the day after, so we're playing this 18-hole course that's on tour. A few things that I wanted to note, which is why I'm saying it. If this is coming out before, basically I'm in the new setup. Quickly I added 12 bags of mulch for about 30 bucks. I sunk the mat into the ground. There's 2 bricks here in front keeping the mat from sliding. A lot more level surface. It feels a lot better not having the mat super high above my feet. Added some bricks around. From what I can tell, based on this setup compared to the old setup where I did the accurate number video, I need to increase the elevation a little bit. Not sure if it's because of the height of the mat, if it's because of the mulch, if it's because of the bricks. I'm not really sure, but I think I have it decent to where I was hitting some shots before on the driving range and they seem pretty good. So just a couple notes from the other video. I was doing the editing last night and this morning, and unfortunately it wasn't until I actually finished the videos and it was done edited, that I realized that the wind was on in both of those courses. So one of them was worse than the other. Some of them there was like close to 20-mile-an-hour winds, which if you guys see that video, either they're already out or they're coming out after, you'll see that there were some wonky numbers, both long and short, and then dispersion left and right, which I do still find that there's some wonky numbers left and right dispersion wise, but some of those will be explained by the wind on those 2 courses. So unfortunately that's what happened. Hopefully I'll be able to catch it before that happens again. That wind number is kind of small up there, so I didn't really notice it, but going forward I'll pay attention to that. The second thing I noticed with those 2 videos is I was just so used to, I don't know, psychologically it just seems more of like a launching pad over here in the front. I did notice on some of the shots in that video, especially at the beginning, I'm not sure if the ball was catching some of the mulch, if when I hit down into the mat it was kind of popping some mulch up, or if my club face, the bottom of the club, was catching a little bit of the mulch. Either way, that's not exactly what you want to see, so I cleared a little bit of the mulch. You'll be able to see a little bit of the brick maybe, but going forward I'm going to try to, at least for the next couple rounds, have the ball more towards the middle of the mat, so that should eliminate any of that issue if that was causing any of the somewhat misreads. Second thing I did, or third thing I guess, so the no wind, the middle of the mat. The third thing is I raised the unit up on the DIY leveling stand that I have. It's perfectly level both horizontally and vertically, and I raised it up about 3/4 of an inch because I think it was a little bit low compared to basically the dirt setup that we had before. Now with the mulch it is a little bit higher, so I raised that up again. I might end up going another 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch higher, but I want to kind of do one thing at a time to figure out what needs to be done and kind of dial in which things are affecting what. And then finally, like I mentioned, if you watch that other video that I put out a couple days ago of the accurate settings, if 4,500 feet, 65 degree or 85 degrees and 65% humidity works good for you, keep using it. If you need to tweak it, tweak it. For this setup, I am at 5,400 feet, so almost about 900 feet more in elevation, both with 65% humidity and 85 degrees. So that seems to do it. Again, I was hitting before, I hit 9-iron and 5-iron before on the driving range, and those were right around the numbers I expect to see on course. So hopefully that's good. I think that's the housekeeping for now. I'm going to move this piece of paper out of here so it doesn't make any noise. I think that's about it. So before we get started, again, Sedgefield in Greensboro, North Carolina. This is the first hole, par 4, 409. For the sake of it, just so we're all on the same page, I want to show you guys what we're using for settings. So we're going to go into here. Just so people are very crystal clear, it's these 3 lines on the left side next to the 1. We press that to go basically to the menu. I leave it at 7 feet distance to the R10. I have chip shots turned on, and now we go into the weather conditions. So you have the course location, my location, which I'll probably have to block out because I don't really want you guys seeing that, but we're at custom now, and we are at 5,400 feet of elevation, 65% relative humidity, 85 degrees of temperature, and down here now, this is not an option for the basic driving range that I was using, but I guess I didn't scroll down and notice that on the previous 2 videos. So we have 0 or none as the wind. So all that being said, this should be much more accurate. I shouldn't see wild misses, or as wild misses. If it's me, it's me. I wasn't hitting my shots that great yesterday. So again, this is just so I can hit on course the same club selection I would. This isn't going to help if I'm hitting them fat, thin, left and right. That's not going to fix it, but this should be a lot better. We're going to give these 18 holes a go, and if I notice anything between either this video I have to fix on the fly, or between the next video, I'll let you guys know next time. But as I mentioned in those 2, it's probably going to take a few rounds, maybe a week or 2, before I really try out different things and get certain things dialed in. So bear with me. If you guys are trying stuff out, let me know what's been working for you and what's not been working. If you see a bigger increase of one thing versus the other. So far for me, it seems like the altitude does the biggest changes for the distances, both long and short. So if you guys are maybe way long, I know there's a few of you out there I've seen that you feel that the R10 is longer than you are on course, you can lower the altitude. For the majority of you out there, from what I've seen, it's about 2 clubs short. So go ahead and raise up that altitude and you should get a lot more accurate numbers. So I think all that being said, we're gonna get going here. Oh, one last thing I did notice is before I even came out here, I double checked again one more time to make sure there was no new updates for either the app or the R10. We're both using the latest updates on that. The R10 is still 4.2, and I have noticed with that, you already saw it once, that it does sometimes put the R10 to sleep and you have to wake it up, which is kind of annoying. That seems to be a bug. And number 2, it seems like it is more sensitive to how you have it set up and the dispersion left and right. So before, I would only have to move the R10 a little bit left and right to see where I'm aiming. If I felt one, I pulled it a little right and it was showing left, I would just move it a little bit, and vice versa. This one, it was a little more sensitive, so I had to move it more times than not based on the old settings, but not a huge deal. If you move it a couple times and you hit a few shots, you get it dialed in. So all right, I think we're good. First hole, see if we can hit driver a little bit better than we were doing yesterday. We've got 409, first hole, par 4. We're gonna go aim right there out to the middle. It seems like a slight dogleg left, so we'll see what happens. That started straight, but that's going to turn over towards the left. And that's much more on par of what I think would have happened there. I did pull that left, we're off the fairway. It went about 260, as I explained in the other one. I think with this driver and what I've seen so far on course, granted this thing's only about 3 weeks old, I expect to be anywhere between 250 and 300 with my driver if I hit it decent. So that was right on par of what I would expect for that shot. A little bit left, a tad short. And let's see what we got for the second shot. So we have 149, down 148, plus another 14, so that's 158, 162. So that should be basically a slightly closed down 9-iron. I'm already doing it again a little bit. We're going to move it back even further to make sure that's not even an issue. I might catch myself. It's just a habit. I've been putting it towards the front of the mat for all these videos that I've done in the past, so. And that was thin, but it was straight. That might be long. And to be expected, a little bit long, but we're on the green, so based on how I hit that, that's probably about right. So I think we're getting closer to some of these numbers that I want to see and you guys want to see. Still a little unsure why I would have to increase based on this setup with the mulch and the bricks another 900 feet, but I guess it is what it is. If I can keep things constant and actually find a setting that works well, I'll be pretty happy if we can just kind of stick with it and going forward with that. So second hole, par 4. We're gonna aim up there again, maybe turn it over a little bit to the left. For this setup, based on the other one with the dirt, I mean, the biggest thing obviously is I'm not hitting out of a dirt hole, but the R10 is slightly closer to the net. This mat is slightly closer to the net, just so I can hit more of a full 52 without as much of a worry as going forward. We're still well over, I believe this was close to 12 feet from the net, so well over that 8 feet, and then that's about 7 feet behind me. So just a couple notes, and it is slightly offset towards the right side of this net, so for the most part people are going to be righty. Give a little more space here. If someone's really tall, they can stand back here. If someone's a lefty, it might be a little bit of an issue. I mentioned those in the other videos, so again, bear with me, and I apologize for repeating some of this stuff. All right, let's get into it here. Let's focus on some good shots. So that one started right. Coming back just a tad, which is similar to what I've been seeing with this driver with the settings turned up. And I did hit that decent, so not too bad. 285 if that's accurate. I didn't hit driver beforehand. Again, like I said, I only hit 5 iron and 9 iron. Generally my 9, I expect it to be anywhere between 150 and 160, which is what I was seeing. And with my 5 iron, that's my 200 club. So anywhere between basically 190 and 210, depending on how fat or thin I hit it. We were right in that ballpark. So second shot here, we've got 148 down 4, so we're at 144. So that's either a strong pitching wedge or a soft 9. I think we're gonna opt for the soft 9 here. Go about 80-ish% 9. See what happens. Choke down about half an inch to an inch. And that was struck pretty good. Came out a little left. And we're a tad long. Bogey on the second hole. And again, it could be possible. This is slightly towards the end of too high with the altitude, so it's possible that going forward in other videos I might decrease it just a little bit. So we're at 5,400 right now. Possibly going forward we might settle around 5,300 depending on what we see throughout this one. I'm probably just going to leave it here unless we see something that's pretty crazy. That one felt a little long based on how I did hit it really well, but I choked down a little bit, so I would expect it to go a little bit shorter, and that was right at that 160 number, so we could be just a tad too strong on the altitude. But third hole, par 3, we've got 173 up 5, so we're at 178. That should be a 7 iron. We're just going to hit it off the deck. On course, I might just tee it up a little bit, but with this mat, you get a pretty good lie every single time. Struck that one pretty clean. a tad to the right on the net, and it is a pretty good number and slightly to the right, so pretty happy with that. That was right in the ballpark of what I would expect if I hit that on course. So we've got 13 yards plus another 1.3. We'll call it 14. Gonna go choke down 56. I always start these left, so I'm gonna aim a good amount to the right, trying to keep it straight. That still came out left, but might be a tad long. But we're on the green. Should be another bogey, I believe. All right, fourth hole, par 4. Depending on how I play today, yesterday I was only planning, I just did the 9 hole because I wasn't feeling great back-wise and swing-wise. So I decided to play 1. It wasn't terrible and I felt like I had some time, so I played another one. We'll see. I may just cut this one at 18 and only do this one today. There's potential that I do a 9 hole, but we'll see how we're feeling towards the end of this round. So we've got fourth hole, par 4. Looks like a slight dog leg to the left. Pretty straight out there. We're gonna aim a little bit more up this way. As I mentioned, I think in the other video, I've noticed that the R10 or the Home Tee Hero in here, it takes into account basically all of your shots, second shots, what you on average hit over the course of all the rounds that you've played. So it was having me, because of the old settings, it was aiming me further back. I think once we play a few more rounds, it should start putting me basically just off the tee on default, closer to that 275 number, somewhere out there. But it doesn't really matter where it aims you. If you hit it 100 yards further than where it's aiming you, that's where it's gonna go. So although it is somewhat frustrating, kind of tinkering with all these different things, trying to find a happy medium between everything, it is nice that we at least have that ability now. And obviously in an ideal world, you could just plop the unit down behind you and you would get perfect numbers every single time. But that's asking a little much for a $600 unit compared to something like a TrackMan or a GC Quad. So just something to keep in mind. Now that was a little lower and left, so that's going to turn over towards the left. And it did. And it wasn't the greatest strike, so that's probably pretty accurate right there. 240, kind of low and to the left. Not exactly off the middle of the club face. So we've got, it's having us lay up. I don't know if these trees are going to mess with us. I'm going to aim up here. So we've got 182 to the pin, down 2, so we're at 180 plus another 18, that's 198. I think, just for the sake of, if we do have to mess with that tree, I'm gonna hit a 6-iron. This should come up a little bit short, but get up in the air a little bit quicker versus a 5. I could probably get a 5 there, but we're gonna hit a 6. This is, if I hit it clean around a 190 number, it's gonna kill some distance, the 10%, because we're in the rough. So club twisted in my hand. That's going to be low and way to the right. So we've got 51 left, 52 plus another 5, so we need 57-ish. Gonna go, that's right around a half of a 52 here, so I'm gonna choke down. That one's gonna be left again, but sit. A little long. No, it gave us a +3. Oh boy, double bogey. All right, 5th hole, par 5. Looks relatively straight, slight dog leg left. Again, what I was explaining before, it's putting us 243 out there. That's because it takes into account all of the past tee shots I've taken. So again, as we play some more rounds here with these new settings, it should start putting me out there towards this kind of number-ish. I'll probably end up putting this video out first because I know a good amount of you were looking forward to a full round with the new settings, so it'll be kind of confusing if I put out the other two and the things were still a little off. This seems so far with these first 4 or 5 holes to be much more accurate, which I'm pretty happy about. That was struck pretty good. It started right, hopefully it comes back a little bit and straightens out. Staying out a little bit to the right, the rough's gonna kill some of this rollout, but there we have it. 270, that's probably pretty spot on there. Or at least not 20 yards short from what we were previously playing, so far so good. We got 252 home, plus we're gonna need an extra 25 yards on top of that, so we're gonna aim up here at the green, and we're gonna try to hit as good of a 3 hybrid off the deck as we can here. I'm still waiting for it to rain a couple times here and kind of basically settle down some of this mulch. I may have to go and get a few more bags and maybe possibly dig out some of the dirt here, because even right here, that's down to the dirt. I'd rather have basically, I've planned out to have 3 inches of mulch all the way around, but that's easy enough. The bags were cheap enough. They were like $2.50 a piece from Walmart, so not a bad deal. That was off the heel. That's gonna go pretty far to the left. Still struggling with consistency with those hybrids, but again, I've only had those a couple weeks as well. So we've got 69, nice, down 1, 68, plus another 6, so right around 75-ish. We're gonna go 52 degree. Caught it pretty clean. We'll see if it's a good number. A little long again. It might be another +3, which isn't ideal. And it is. A bogey. Again, with this PGA level type of course, my goal usually for these is right around bogey golf, so right around somewhere that's about 18 over, which we're +5 through 5, so we're right on par with that. 6th hole, par 4, 420. How much do we need to get over this? 290, but it's down 17 yards. So that's what, 283, like 275-ish. We'll hit driver, see what happens. Not breaking any course records here, so might as well go for it. If we're in the water, we're in the water. Hopefully, similar to on course, when I really catch one well, I start getting this driver up towards that 300 number. I was off the heel again. That's going to be low and to the left. That might be in the water. Alright, we're just short of it. That's actually not terrible there. So we've got 153, up 7, 160, plus another 16. So we're at 176. Should be 7 iron. Sound like a broken record, I'm sure, but it is so much better. I can't explain how much better it is to actually be able to hit on course club selections here, as opposed to adding 20 yards and basically clubbing up 2 every single time, which was pretty annoying. That's going to be relatively straight, but that was really thin. That might be over the green. Alright, we got it to roll up. And we squeak out a par, luckily. 7th hole, par 3. Long par 3. So we got 223 down 10. So we're at 213. That should be right around a slightly teed up 5 hybrid here. From the few times I've hit this off the tee, I've been anywhere between basically 200 and 220 with this thing off the tee. So if we catch it clean, this should be a decent number here. I popped it way up. That's up and to the left. Stay short of the water, stay short. Not the best swing there, but for that pretty terrible swing, that's probably actually pretty close to what that actually went, because I popped that up pretty high. So we've got 65 yards. Let's see if we can actually hit something here with the 52 that's not off the back of the green. That was fat and left. That's going to be short left. Or long left. That might have been a slight misread there. I caught that pretty heavy. And another +3 for a double bogey. Yikes. 8th hole, par 4. 367. We should be able to carry that water, so we're going to aim up here. Hopefully turn it over slightly to the left, or at least relatively straight. That's going to be pretty far left. That wasn't good. I popped it up. Now we have to mess with these trees. That might even be a penalty stroke in there. And it is. Very hit or miss with the driver as of late. Mostly miss. So we've got 202, down 2, we're at 200 plus another 20. We need 220. We're going to go 4 hybrid. Definitely isn't perfect here. I still got some more work to do to really get this leveled out. I think I mentioned in the other video I want to actually get, I took pretty much a 2x4 out here. Might even been longer than that, I don't know. It was a big long board, and I I basically leveled as much as I could the dirt and the mulch. So it's pretty close, but I actually want to get a level out here and really dial it in so I'm perfectly level. This is still, if you guys remember from the old setup, there's kind of a hump here. So this is definitely higher than the ground here. But I think here, where I stand most of the time, that's pretty level. But I would like to probably dig out some of this dirt, maybe put an extra inch or two of mulch there. But caught that heavy and left. That's going to be short, but it should be somewhere up there. So we've got 31, 32, plus another 3. We need 35. I hit that pretty good. Might be a little long again. Yep. Although the wedges are relatively the same. Before with the old settings, that was pretty much the only thing that was somewhat accurate. With the altitude, they're going to be a little bit longer, so over the next couple rounds I need to start adjusting for that. I'm probably getting a good 5 yards more out of these wedges, so that's probably explains why I'm betting pretty long on all these. 9th hole, par 4. We're going to aim up here towards that bunker, hopefully turn it over to the left and actually hit a driver that is somewhere near the middle of the club face. That was a little bit better, but that was still kind of low and left. That's going to turn over a good amount to the left again. All right, 209 plus we need another 20. Up 8 as well, so we'll call that 220. We need 240. Based on how we've been hitting it, I'm gonna go 3 hybrid. If I catch this really clean and get 100% out of it, it's gonna be long, but haven't done that yet, so likely I'm not gonna catch it exactly how I want, so it should, if it comes up a little short, be a decent number. That was a little bit better. Still kind of low and to the left, but oh, caught the bunker. That might have rolled up close to the green if we didn't catch that. So we've got 45 up 3, 48. Oh, we're not in the bunker. We went through the bunker just on the rough. So we've only got 10% reduction in power versus 20. So 48 plus another 4 or 5, that's right around 55-ish, a little bit less than that. I think we're gonna try, we've been hitting everything long, so I'm gonna try the 56 here instead of the 52. Caught it pretty clean. Let's see what happens. And we're long again, but at least we're on. Tenth hole, par 4. So through 9, we were plus 10, a little bit worse than bogey golf. See if we can get a couple strokes back here on the back 9. We're gonna aim up here into that rough, about 280-ish out there, and everything's going left, so ideally it'll turn back and we'll actually catch a fairway. That was better. That was probably one of the better swings yet with the drive. That should be pretty straight, turn over just a little bit, and it should be decently far out there. 266, not terrible. At least it was more towards the middle of the club face. It did come out a bit low, but we're getting there. So we've got 177 up 10, so we're at 187. That should be a nice smooth 6-iron. I'm sure I'll hear it. My foot does slip a little bit. It's not too bad. I mean, honestly, it's pretty similar to the dirt before. I'll probably hear some people saying that I need to actually get a mat, which I would agree with, but I spent $30 on mulch, and this is pretty good versus if I were to buy, this is a Country Club Elite mat. If I were to buy a full mat like that, I'm looking at like 500 bucks, so I'll take the mulch for now. Kind of hard to justify spending as much on a mat as you did for the unit, but caught that heavy into the right, so that should be short right. And it is. Another +3, no bueno for another bogey. I got the camo shorts on again. I'm out here we're searching and hunting for birdies and eagles, so hopefully we get a couple of those, at least some pars. No more bogeys and doubles. 11th hole, par 4, looks pretty straight. We're just gonna leave it there and try to punch something out there in the middle. I did it again. I did that really bad in one of the other videos. That's probably gonna go like 100 yards. Right off the top of the club. Terrible. Well, at least we get to practice with the 3 hybrid. Got a long way home. We got 330. Heavy again into the left. It's going to be well short left. So we've got 140 yards up 3, 143 plus another 14. So we're at 153, 157. Should be 9-iron territory. Nice clean strike on this bad boy should get us there. Started a tad right, but that was pretty clean. Not so sure about that one. That one seemed like it was at least 20-30 yards short. That should have been right around, at least that should have been closer to 150-ish. But 16 yards. As I've mentioned, there have been, seems like, at least to me, some more misreads with, I think I attributed that to the 4.2 update on the actual R10. Seems to be slightly more misreads. Before it seemed like, I mean, everything was 20 yards off, so it's definitely way better than that, but it seemed like I was probably closer to 1 every 20 shots with the old settings and basically the old firmware. It was basically 1 out of 20. This one seems closer, it's like 1 out of 10. So, I mean, still 9 out of 10 shots that are pretty close. We'll take that all day, but hopefully they fix a few of these bugs. Mainly the one being that it puts the R10 to sleep, which is kind of annoying. That should be real close to that number, I would think. Still a little long. Starting to dial in a little bit though. Although it was a double bogey, so. Alright, 12th hole, par 3. Geez, these long par 3s. I guess that's to be expected from the, I think these were the gold tees. Basically similar to what they're going to play on tour, but it is down. But so we're looking at 236. I think that will be a teed up 4 hybrid, or at least in the vicinity of that. That was better. It was still low, but that should be straight, and that should be pretty close to up there, I would think. Yep. Better shot there. Oh, go in. Woo! All right, we'll take a bird. We'll give the credit to the camo shorts on that one. All right, 13th, par 4. Pretty big dogleg left. We're gonna aim up here towards, maybe a little more this way, right side of the fairway. It's up 15 yards though, so that's gonna kill some distance if we get up there. That was one of the better swings yet, I would think. Started right, hopefully comes back a little bit. Decent launch on it, still a little low. So we lost a little bit of yardage, but center cut, so. We've got 150 home, 153. Should be right around, pretty close to a full 9-iron, maybe 90-95%, 9-iron rather. Hung it out to the right. And a tad heavy. I moved the camera a little bit too. It's a little more behind me, so you should be able to see more of the net and somewhat where the ball hits. I think the right side still might be cut off a little bit by the home tee hero, but you should be able to see, from what I could tell before, at least up to this half of the net, I would think. So you can also tell, I mean, I kind of commentate of how it comes off, but you can also tell Maybe I don't see someone or don't feel something quite right, and you can see where it comes off on the net based on what it does in this application. So we got 21 plus another 2, we need 23. That was thin and left. Bogey golf though. 14th par 4. I am enjoying this a lot more without the 20-mile-an-hour wind. That's for sure. Again, if you guys watch those 2 full videos, I think I had 2 or 3 drives that were over 300, which would explain. One of them I know was pretty severely. There was a big downslope, so I was basically hitting up on a hill down, which explained one of them. And I think 2 other ones I had a pretty severe wind, which I didn't know at the time, but I attributed it to a misread. But it actually might have been pretty close with 20-mile-an-hour wind pushing the ball further down the course. Club twisted. That's going to be low and pretty far left again. So we've got 224 plus another 20. We need 240-ish. We're going to go 3 hybrid again. Again, if I catch this really clean off the deck, it might be long, but chances of that happening based on how I've been hitting this is probably low, so we're not going to get 100% of it, and hopefully catch the green here. Oh, I hit that pretty good. All right, we'll take that. Came out low again. These, I do have a slight issue trying to launch these things. Kind of makes sense with the lower lofts on them, but I think if I'm able to launch these a little bit higher, I'll get even more distance out of them. 15th hole, par 5. We got a bunch of water to mess with. So we're gonna aim, we are going down, so we're gonna aim up here. We got 15 yards of down slope, so we're basically up on a hill hitting down into this fairway. We're actually going to aim even further up here because we've been pulling everything to the left. Try to start this one further right. Launch it a little bit higher. Not so high where it only goes 150 yards, but basically same thing. A little bit better, relatively straight, but it's still turning left and it's not going to go that far. Oh, just made the water. Hitting everything off the heel. Guess I need to take a half a step back or something. So 280 to the hole, it's putting us 204. I think we're going to aim way up there. I'm going to hit 3 hybrid and we'll take it. All right, we're going to aim here. 240-ish that way. In the rough. As long as we don't pull this thing massively right, it should put us in a decent position. Par 5. It was low, but should be relatively straight, I would think. $105 left. Up 3, we need 108. Regardless of the R10, this is a tricky yardage for me on course as well. This is right between that, pretty much, basically almost a full swing on a 52 versus I could go choke down pitching wedge. We're gonna go choke down pitching wedge, try to get right around 100 yards out of this. It's a little thin, should be straight though. We'll take that. We squeak out a par. All right, 16th hole, par 3. 180 down 5, so we're at 175. That's between an 8 and a 7. We're gonna go 7 to make sure we clear that water. Struck that pretty good. A little too much, a little bit to the right, but we're not on the water, so we've got a pretty short 56, I would think, left. Oh, I gave it a +3. I almost wish it would be cool in a future update if it gave you an option there. I feel like I could get it. At least give me the chance. I mean, I would think from there, it's almost a guarantee I'm hitting the green, so it's basically a +3 at worst because I'm doing one stroke and then a +2, so we'd still be at the +3, but it'd be cool to give us a chance to try to get it within that one and save a stroke if they gave you like an option to pick. 17th, par 4. That should be pretty straight. That was a little more toward the middle of the club face. Launched it a little bit higher, coming back a little bit left. Still didn't get all of it, but 235 just off the fairway. You can feel my back starting to tighten up a little bit. Swing speed's probably going down. So we've got 158 up 9. So that's 167 plus another 16, so that's 177, 183. We don't have water to get over. We'll go 7 again. That's pretty much between a soft 6 and a full 7 here. We're gonna close down the club face just a tad on the 7. See what happens. Either way, I would hope if we hit it halfway clean, we get within a wedge shot, but would like to be on the green here, save some of these strokes. Foot slipped a little bit on that one. That's going to be to the right. Guess we could have gone 6 or not have my foot slip. 18 yards up 1. Call it another 2, so we need right around 21 here. That was straight, but it was thin. That might be off the back. We got lucky. That was a lucky shot. It was straight, but I hit that thin. Granted, I didn't smash it, so it didn't go that far, but squeaked out a par. All right, 18th hole, par 5. We've got water to go over. Second shot, I guess. Down 10. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room up there. It's gonna be fun. I've been recording a bunch of videos lately, especially after these updates, but it's gonna be fun once I come out here after 1, 2, maybe even 3 days off when the back's feeling really good. Get some faster full swings in here with the driver if I actually connect on some and get closer to that 300 number. Put something out there that's pretty far. That was better. Still kind of low. It's going to kill some distance. We didn't launch it super high. In the back of my mind, I've almost got... See, I'm pretty happy with that. I knew that was better. That was more off the club face. That was pretty straight, and we got a little more distance out of it. So I feel like these settings are pretty good. And I'd imagine, based on me having to go about 900 feet up, if I adjust this here, I don't think I really need to go up any. If I go down basically from 5400 to 5300, I can imagine that's only probably a yard or two for each of these shots, maybe a little more with driver, but I feel like we're pretty close. So we've got 242 down. We're gonna go 3 hybrid. Hopefully we get it off the ground and over that water at least. Kind of unfortunate I recorded those 2 videos yesterday without noticing the wind, which makes a pretty big difference, and I was kind of scratching my head of how it could have changed so drastically from the range that was pretty close with these similar settings with no wind, and then I get on the course and it was pretty far off, and then after I was kind of frustrated with it, I went and hit the range again and it was back towards similar yardage shots. So at least I figured it out, but we got 2 not so great videos that are coming out that you guys, I guess, will see. That should definitely be over the water. It's going to be short of the green, but we'll take that. I wonder with the extra loft, I haven't been hitting that 3 great. I probably could have hit the 4 as far, if not maybe a little bit farther, if I launch it a little bit higher. So we've got... I gotta remember to stop doing it with my gloves too. The other videos from like a couple weeks ago, you can see by the end of it with the dirt. Granted, there's not as much dirt now with the mulch now, but you can see by the end of the videos from me bending over and looking at the screen, basically my 2 thighs are just completely black with dirt, ruining shorts left and right. So we've got 29 up to 31 plus another 3, we need 34. Starting to get a little bit better feel for the wedge shots here. If I had to guess, it's about 5 yards longer with these settings with the wedges compared to the old ones. So basically I'm playing 30-ish yard shot closer to 35 and so on and so forth. That should be decent. That might be a little short. Yep. And we par the 18th. So for the round, we ended up with a plus 1485. Not too bad. We hit only 4 out of 14 fairways, which isn't great. We got to start hitting more of these fairways with the driver. 9 out of 18 greens in regulation, we'll take that. I want to be at least 50% on these metrics, so 9 out of 18 isn't terrible. We want to be closer to obviously 12 plus, 13 plus, closer to 18. 15 would be pretty ideal. Can't expect to hit every single green in regulation. Same thing with the fairways. Fairways, I want to be closer to probably 8 or 10 out of 14. but hopefully we'll get there eventually. We went 45 on the front, 40 on the back, played some better golf on the back, hit some better drives. So yeah, from Sedgefield Country Club, this was the Ross course. I believe that's the only one, that was the only option. So that was the gold tees, basically the same thing they're playing on tour. 5,400 on the elevation seemed to do it, plus about 3/4 of an inch higher on the DIY stand. Pretty happy so far with this one. This round went a lot better than the 2 9-holes. So again, you're gonna see either this one first or the other 2 first. It'll probably be this one first, and then I'll probably have to explain to some people why the other 2 weren't so great, but they'll probably be able to see the 20-mile-an-hour winds. So that's all I have today. I'll see you guys in the next course.